All right, just wanted to give you guys a notice before we jump into the presentation that this pre-submittal conference is primarily structured around us looking for partnering with a program administrator, or we also call them delegate agencies. And so we will be speaking more specifically to those program administrators, which typically would be your chambers of commerce, your development corporations, or other qualifying nonprofit organizations. If you're a small business interested in this program, what I would say to you is to sit tight. This is our phase one where we will be working to identify the delegate agency first. And then once we've identified the delegate agency, we will put out the request for the small businesses to join the program. And we're anticipating that will be happening in the first quarter. So in the interest of time, if any of the small businesses are on the call, you guys are certainly welcome to listen in. But we will be structuring this pre-submittal conference around looking for a delegate agency partner. All right, and so our agenda, we sort of handled the welcome. We identified who our participants are from BACP. We'll provide you guys a departmental overview, and then we will provide an overview of the Neighborhood Retail Activation Program, as well as provide the RFP timelines, and then we'll open it up to questions and answers. So an overview of the department, essentially, the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection, we're responsible for licensing businesses and public vehicles. We regulate certain business activities within the city. We protect consumers from fraud. We enforce Chicago's labor laws, and we partner with business service organizations to provide education and resources for businesses. The department is comprised of approximately 8 divisions. And as you'll notice, the highlighted division here that is administering this program is our Small Business Advocacy and Recovery division, which is responsible for these business development programs. Small Business Advocacy is headed by Lotika Pai, which she introduced herself. We support the small business ecosystem of Chicago and promote economic development. We also have our neighborhood strategy team, which is headed by James Harris, our assistant commissioner, who identified himself as well. And then he's responsible for the neighborhood business development centers and our Chicago business centers, our CBCs. And then my team, which is responsible for the economic recovery team. And Sarah Beamer is your projects administrator, who is out of the office at the time. And so you could work directly with me if you have any questions, and we'll be sure to get answers for you guys. So a little bit of an overview for the Neighborhood Retail Activation Program. Many of you guys are aware that in the summer of 2023 and 2024, we had some pretty severe storms that caused significant economic disruption for many of the businesses in Chicago. A lot of those businesses that rely on foot traffic were particularly impacted, and many of the commercial corridors experienced major reduction in economic activity. This program is designed to help businesses and community areas affected by these natural disasters. The goal is to revitalize commercial corridors and support small businesses, foster economic stability, and preserve the unique characteristics of the affected areas. This program will focus on the following 4 community areas in the commercial corridors: Austin and Madison Street. And that is our RFP 57083, which is for the Austin Boulevard and Laramie Avenue. We'll also look at Austin and Chicago Avenue between Austin and Boulevard and Cicero, which is RFP 57082. We'll look at Belmont Cragen and its Belmont Central Commercial Corridor, which is RFP 57081. And then finally, West Garfield Park and its Madison Street Commercial Corridor between Carson Avenue and Hamlin, which is RFP 57084. We're looking for 4 local nonprofit organizations, 1 for each of the designated community areas. The program budget will be up to $1.25 million for each RFP award. And we're looking to start the programming really early in 2026, preferably as early in 2026 as possible, which would be January. And then it will run for 2 years through December 31st of 2027 with a potential for 1 year extension. Obviously, it'll depend on the pace and the funds availability for the program, and we'll just take a look at it and decide whether or not this is a viable program that will be extended. And if it is extended, we will provide ample notice that the program will be extended. The proposal requirements, the selected delegate agency will support businesses in 2 key areas. Primarily, we're looking for storefront activations. The agency will design and implement pop-up shops, community markets, or other commercial activations in vacant storefronts in those areas. This includes identifying move-in spaces, move-in ready spaces, negotiating leases with the landlords, and using BACP developed intake form to select the eligible small businesses that will participate. Again, our first phase here is to select that program partner, the delegate agency, and then our second phase will be to identify eligible businesses that we would like to participate in the programming. After we've selected those businesses, which will be the phase 2 of this, those businesses will also be available to receive technical assistance from the delegate agencies that we have selected. They'll provide crucial support services to those small businesses that will include marketing, business development, strategic and operational planning. This comprehensive approach will provide small businesses with exposure and support that's necessary for more long-term success, which is obviously the end goal here. Is we want to be able to stand these businesses up for long-term success, as well as revitalize the corridors in the long run, which again leads to economic stability and preserving the unique characteristics of those impacted neighborhoods. The proposals must comply with all RFPs that the city releases. They must comply with all of the city funding source requirements for tracking, reporting, audit, compliance, and meet all milestones before the period of performance end date. RFP response eligibility. Again, it's one local community and an economic development organization. An example would be a chamber of commerce, a community development corporation, or other qualifying nonprofit or 501c6 organization. Priority will be given to proposals that demonstrate the delegates agency's strong community involvement in Austin, Belmont, Cragen, West Garfield Park community areas. We're really looking to see that the landlords are community-based. They really should be living in the areas or the communities that these buildings are located in. We're looking for people who have ideas for multiple clustered activations. We think that has a higher level of being successful when we create these clusters. And we're looking for strategies to attract a diversity of business types to the commercial corridors. Applicants with existing contracts with the cities that are not in good standing will not be considered for this funding. And in addition, applicants that have had a contract terminated for default are not eligible to respond to this RFP. Respondents that do not meet these eligibility requirements will not have their applications evaluated. Similarly, incomplete applications will not be evaluated for funding. So we'll talk about budget and program expenses. The applicants must complete a program budget, outline all detailed expenses in its entirety for this proposal. So we want to see the full picture. So once you log into the e-procurement system, which is iSupplier, there will be several documents that you will need to complete. The budget is one of those documents, so please make sure if you are responding to this opportunity, please make sure that you complete the budget document. We want a complete picture of what you guys are proposing, how you plan on using the funding for this program. So think about it, be really thoughtful about how you want to allocate program costs, program materials, so on and so forth. You should also list any of the programming staff that will be participating in this program. You want to list that staff time, any of the consulting fees for the program management, anything that if you need a data tracking software, anything that's required for you to administer this program, you should outline it in that budget document. And then there's the indirect cost that you could charge. And indirect cost essentially means costs that we didn't necessarily anticipate that became part of became necessary for you to administer the program. We kept that based off of uniform guidance, we kept it at 10%. There will be occasions where some of the delegate agency or organizations may need a higher 10% de minimis rate. That's possible, but we'll have to see what the justification is, and it obviously would have to be in compliance with any of the federal guidelines. In terms of activation operating expenses, we want to make sure that you guys are including the storefront rent, the utilities, the insurance costs, any materials necessary to design and conduct the program. We would look for you guys to include program marketing and outreach costs, anything that would be necessary for you to promote the activations. For this program, capital asset purchases such as equipment is not considered an allowable expense and will not be reimbursed. This is a reimbursable grant, which means the delegate agency is expected to front the cost, the eligible expenses for the program. And then once they submit invoicing, the city of Chicago will reimburse the delegate agency on a monthly basis. As with all programs with the city, we do have reporting requirements. We want to make sure that the program is effective. We want to see how the program is being administered. So the delegate agency that we select will have to comply with our requirements around data collection and success metrics. The city does expect the delegate agency to work with an external evaluator. The delegate agency will be required to maintain requested data using a city-approved platform and to submit reports, including impact data, to the city of Chicago. Again, once we select the delegate agency, we'll go over the specific reporting requirements and we'll let you guys know what those expectations are. But we sort of listed some of the data that at a minimum we would be expecting the delegate agency to collect. And that would be inclusive of number of locations, the types of activations, number of small businesses supported through the interior activations, any of the potential small businesses that have signed long-term leases as a result of participating in this program, what types of technical assistance was facilitated and provided, any of your placemaking efforts, programmed impact on the corridor. So we want to know what the success metrics looks like. And then we'll do some post-program surveys. We'll also look for a summary of the project outcomes, what you propose versus what actually happened. And then as with all programs, we want to make sure that we understand some of the lessons learned, because it informs when we're designing additional or similar programs. Again, once we select the delegate agency, we will work with you guys to provide you what we're expecting from a data collection and reporting perspective. The delegate agency is required to keep detailed records on the costs, and in addition to any other records required for compliance with the city and the funding source. Okay, so once you log into iSupplier, the e-procurement site, which is where you will be submitting the application, this next sheet here is the scoring criteria. This lets you know how we review each of the applications that have been submitted. Each of the applications can get a maximum score of 100. And the way that you get to that 100 is through these points that we've assigned to each of the categories here. So the first category is organizational overview. We assign 30 points. We're looking at the qualifications and capacity of the organization. This is a time to highlight the organization's missions, relevant experience, and how your leadership and staff are connected and accountable to the communities you're serving, especially in the Austin, Belmont, Cragen, or West Garfield Park areas. Additionally, you can provide details on your organization's experience or expertise in supporting small businesses and managing properties, along with the specific roles and compensation of the team members to demonstrate the capacity to administer the program. The next category we will assign 30 points to will be the program design and implementation strategy. So we're looking at what are you proposing? How do you think that, what is the best way to implement this program? So we'll be looking at you to provide details on how your organization will execute the activities, equitably selecting participating storefronts, businesses and landlords to provide robust technical assistance, outline your organization's marketing strategy to maximize activations and approach data collection and reporting. And finally, we're looking at your timeline with key milestones. And so you should really be telling us when you're going to execute things, and that will give us a fuller picture of how we expect you to administer the program. The other category that we'll be looking at is the organization's experience, which is worth 20 points. This section will assess your organization's financial stability and your compliance. The city needs to confirm your adherence to IRS regulations. What are your internal policies? Provide documentation on your past tax filings. Additionally, please disclose any pending legal issues and detail your approach to monitoring the program expenditures and to maintain fiscal controls around not just your organization, but how you would manage the program. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we're looking at your budget justification. We assign 15 points to this one. This addresses the financial aspects of your organization's proposal. The city will be reviewing the total amount requested and your detailed budget. Please describe your organization's plans to fiscally manage the project, include expenditure monitoring, financial record keeping, and then confirm to us your cash flow capability to handle a reimbursement grant such as this. We're also interested in looking at not just whether or not you've handled federally funded programs, but any city grant or bond funded program. And then the last category here is assigned 5 points, which is overall responsiveness. So this is essentially us saying, did you respond accurately and with sufficient details to each of the questions in each of the categories? So I would highly suggest that you guys take a look at the application as soon as possible. If you do not have e-procurement iSupplier access, get that access, log into each of these RFPs and look at the questions and sort of plan your strategy as to how you want to respond. But I would really highly suggest that you do take some time and respond thoroughly to each of the questions, because we do assign a point value to that. It allows us to assess whether or not the organization understands what the program is about, and it allows us to be able to make a better decision. And then on to the contract details. Again, I mentioned that the contract, we're really looking to kick this off January of 2026, and the program will go through December 2027 with the option of 1 additional year beyond that. How do you apply? To complete an application for this RFP, you will need to go into our e-procurement system, which is iSupplier. That is the only way you will be allowed to submit an application for this opportunity. There is no ability for us to receive the application outside of that e-procurement system. Full disclosure, it is not the easiest system to navigate, so I would highly recommend that if you do not have access to iSupplier, that you get that access as soon as possible and start learning to navigate through that system so that you can submit your application before the deadline. The other thing that I would note here is that you will only be allowed to submit 1 application per iSupplier user ID. And then on to when the RFPs are due, October 31st by noon. 12:01 p.m. will unfortunately be too late. Again, I would suggest that you start the application process as early as possible so you could iron out any of the kinks that you might encounter with accessing the system or understanding the navigation of the system. And so once the RFP closes on October 31st, BACP will start to immediately review the completed applications, and we are looking to render a decision on the selected delegate agencies in the month of November. All proposals received by the deadline will undergo a technical review. Proposals determined by BACP to be incomplete will not be considered. And BACP reserves the right to waive irregularities that are within its sole discretion that we determine to be minor. If we do waive those irregularities for one organization, we'll do it across the board with all of the other proposals. And so that's just a lot of words to say that if we encounter issues with maybe there was something that was incomplete or not understood by, or we didn't clarify certain things with the application process. If we have to, we could potentially extend the deadline, or we will waive incomplete answers for all applicants that encounter that same issue. However, we expect that all applications are completed and submitted prior to the deadline. We do get a lot of questions from applicants about iSupplier, the system itself, which is outside of the actual program that we're looking to hire a delegate agency. We're not able to answer any questions about iSupplier. iSupplier is the City of Chicago's e-procurement system, and we don't manage that. We just manage the programs that are offered through iSupplier. And so I can't stress enough, I've seen too many instances of people, waiting to the last minute to get their access and start looking at the application process. So I'd say do that as soon as possible so that you won't encounter any issues. And then once this meeting is over, as I said earlier, we will provide a recording of this meeting and we will upload it to Business Affairs and Consumer Protection's YouTube channel. If you have any questions related to the actual program itself, this RFP, you can reach out to us at our email address, BACP Economic Recovery, City of Chicago. If you have any questions for iSupplier, the help desk, here's the information for them. There's a phone number, 312-744-HELP. Their hours are Monday through Friday, except holidays, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Central Time. And they also have an email address that's listed here. And then we put a note here again to let you guys know that BACP does not manage iSupplier and we cannot offer any assistance or guidance regarding how you would use it, which would be inclusive of usernames, passwords, how to actually access the RFPs within the system. Those are all things that are handled by the iSupplier help desk. So that's the end of the presentation. I will open it up to any questions that you guys may have.
Wait, so there are already 2 questions in the chat. And the first one is, what is an external evaluator?
So we're looking for an external evaluator would be someone who can give an objective review of the actual program itself. And we say that because we will want not the delegate agency selected or the City of Chicago to provide that overview, but kind of working with an external partner who can provide more of an objective review of what your proposal is, how you're administering the program, what your budget is, what your timeline is.
Awesome. And next question, do I have to have a nonprofit in order to go through this program, or can I have an LLC?
An LLC would not be eligible for this program. We're looking for nonprofits, 501(c) organizations. An LLC is more than likely a small business that might be what we would ask you to come back in phase two when we open the application process up to eligible businesses that want to participate. But we're looking for nonprofits, delegate agencies, economic development corporations, business service organizations to administer the program.
Next question. You mentioned that this opportunity is intended for one organization. Does that mean the selected organization must provide all services directly, or can they partner with another organization to deliver specialized technical assistance?
We're open to you guys proposing working with external partner to provide the services. You'll just need to make sure that you include that in the budget. You'll need to also detail that in your proposal. All right, any other questions?
Oh, yes, one more. Can you share more about the front cost process? Does the organization have to front all the cost and then reimbursements will take place?
Yes. So this is this is a reimbursable grant. So we're looking to see whether or not the organizations that are submitting an application, they're in a position that they can pretty much be able to financially manage this program and any other programs that they have going on through the reimbursement process. So all of the costs are paid up front by the organization, and then eligible costs, we ask that you save all the receipts and submit invoicing through our reimbursement system, and all eligible costs will be reimbursed. So what we expect once we select the delegate agency is that monthly, we recognize that, delegate agencies are, depend on funding. And so we try to get through the reimbursement process as quickly as possible. So we do expect that as you incur expenses monthly, you will bill the city for those expenses, and we will be submitting invoicing over to our finance department to make sure that those expenses are reimbursed as on a timely basis as possible. Um, Obviously, we can't make any guarantees. We try to get those expenses reimbursed as quickly as possible, but we're looking for organizations that are in a position to front the cost to manage the program, and are in a position to wait out through the reimbursement process with the city.
Are you looking for organizations to match any funding?
The person that asked that question, can you be a little bit more specific? It's okay if you have additional funding for you to manage the program. However, we would need for you guys to disclose what other additional funding you have related to this program.
I can answer that question, Maurice. In terms of match funding, unlike some other federal government programs, the city of Chicago does not require match funding for this.
Awesome. Next question. So the organization would need to have current reserves or funds. Will you be asking for proof of funds?
So that's part of when you submit the budget, and one of the questions in there is asking whether or not the organization is in fiscal, if they have the fiscal capacity. That's what we're asking you guys to provide as a picture of the organization to manage. We're not necessarily looking for proof of funds, but you need to disclose where you are in terms of finances in order for you to administer a program of this size.
All right, next question. For performance, are you looking at revenue from businesses? What does success look like?
So that's a program design question. So once we select a delegate agency, we will start determining what we want the program to look like. What does success look like to us and to the delegate agency? What do they think as an organization that's embedded in the community, each of these communities, what do we all agree what that success looks like? And once we have those conversations, then we'll design the metrics around it.
All right, next question. To clarify, this program is 2 years. Are the activations expected to continue for that amount of time continuously, or can they be activated and deactivated according to the market conditions?
Lotika, James, what's your thoughts on that?
So the goal of the program really is to create sustainable commercial corridors. So we are looking to activate businesses on these commercial corridors that have a chance of long-term success. So that's why we are clustering them in specific areas and also working with the delegate agencies to ensure that the businesses that are activated for whom the rent is paid for and the utilities and the wraparound technical services are provided for have the best chance of success, long-term success. So we are not looking to bring in a business for 6 months and then another business for 6 months and another business for 6 months. It's really long-term success. Foreign activation is the focus for the city.
All right, and our next question takes us back to the previous question in regards to financial capacity. Will a commitment letter from a lender suffice?
I don't want to go into the specifics of, I would say to the organization, submit your best proposal. Again, we want to see your financial capability. If you want to submit a commitment letter from a lender, you can submit that. I can't make a recommendation one way or the other. We just need to see a full picture of the organization and whether or not they have the capability to administer a program of this size and scope.
That was our last question, and there does not seem to be any questions in the chat.
All right. Well, thank you guys for participating. And if you have any additional questions, as I said before, you can reach out to us at the BACP Economic Recovery email address on this page. Please, please, please start the conversation, start the access for iSupplier, and reach out to the iSupplier help desk if you have any questions about that access. And thank you for your time today, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, guys.